I like a wreath that's like full of crap. Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new season of the Blind Pinterest Challenge. And you might be wondering what's different about season 3 of the Blind Pinterest Challenge. Well, it's because I got a new blindfold. Duh. Other than that, everything's absolutely exactly the same. Okay, so I think the first thing I want to make is this very elegant, it says that it's a wreath. I can't see it being a wreath. It's a very minimal wreath, but I think it looks very elegant. Apparently it's a dried flower wreath, door wreath, ring dried flowers, boohoo Etsy. I'm just going to say how much this costs. So if I was to get the smallest one, which is 15 centimeters, it would cost me £15.46, or for the largest one, it would cost me £37.70. So I'm going to try and make this and beat their price. So keep them prices in your mind. I'll forget what they were, so you'll have to remember. Jot them down. Jot them down. I also think I'll try these ornate decorative light bulbs, which I think look absolutely amazing actually. Looking at it now, I already know, based on my abilities and my lack of abilities and lack of skill, that I will not be able to make it look as nice as theirs. Theirs looks absolutely phenomenal. But I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm going to try my best to make one that looks very similar to that. But I think that's lovely. I think that's a really nice little decoration. Very elegant. They've both been super elegant so far. And that's not me. What's happening? I'm setting myself up for failure today. And I think the third and final craft that I'm going to try and make is this little, I don't fully understand what you would call it, like a decorative, almost terrarium looking thing with like a geode resin kind of sculpture inside of it. There's a lot of components to this and I might struggle a little bit, but I think it looks really nice. I think the hardest thing will be obviously making the resin geode thing. I think that'll be quite difficult. The thing is today I've picked some like super fancy, ridiculously elegant things to make, and I'm not an elegant person. I'm not a sophisticated person at all. I'm trash. I'm the kind of thing you just find in the bin. That's how I would describe myself. Not in like a putting myself down way, in like a realistic like bin person. I feel like I live in a bin. That's just the mentality I have, that I'm a bin person. Not like a person who works and empties the bins. Like I live in a bin. I just feel like I don't know, I feel like proper bin-like. Please help! But I might surprise myself today. I've chosen 3 very sophisticated ones. And let's see if a rubbish person like me can do these sophisticated, elegant things. I felt like I was really harsh on myself there. I just called myself rubbish and I called myself a bin. Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind. We have self-deprecating humour in the UK, okay? It's fine. It's normal. It's a normal attitude to have. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how amazing I am because I don't believe it myself. Okay, so your favourite piece of rubbish is back in action, and I thought we'd start off with a little light bulb ornament. So for this I just bought an ornate looking light bulb, which I think looks really nice. I think this will do very well. And I also bought this fancy gold acrylic paint, which looks absolutely amazing in the pot by the way. And then just tried my very best to paint a decorative pattern on the surface of this light bulb. And I've got it here, and it doesn't look too bad. I've given it a second coat. I think that looks okay. It doesn't obviously look amazing. It was really, really hard to paint. And when we look at their original one, I have no idea how they got their lines so thin, because mine are very chunky. But I've got a couple more things I need to add to this. So for the top part of this light bulb, so I'm able to actually suspend it from something, I bought this little gold rivet. This very tiny little rivet. It's from like clothing. What you would add is like a stud. So I thought that would look quite nice. So I'm just gonna hot glue it onto the top of here, like so. And I've also bought some decorative jewels, which do not look incredibly tacky. Just look how ugly they are, and I love them. I love how ugly they are. It was actually quite hard to find all the stuff for this light bulb. Like the thing for the top, I didn't have a clue what to use, and the jewels were quite hard to find as well. Which one shall I use? I want to use the ones that look a little bit expensive. And we'll just glue them onto here, I think. I actually don't think mine's going to look that bad, you know.
Why are you lying?
I'm not going to lie, it looks really, really tacky. It looks so naff. I thought it was going to look nicer than this, but it doesn't. It looks so cheap and tacky. Okay, so now we just need to add some thread to the top. So we have expectation and reality, and obviously mine's got the essence of the original. It looks similar to what they've done, but mine just looks it just doesn't look as fancy or as nice. The thing is, I feel like I could do the original and I could make this look really, really good if I knew where they got all their stuff from. Like, I couldn't find out where they got their beads from. I've got a bit of glue stuck to it. Or what kind of paint they used. Or the little thing on the top. So like, if you look at the gems, they've got a silver enclosure instead of a bronze or a gold, which doesn't match the theme. But that's all I could find. But I still think I've done an alright job considering. I thought this was going to look way worse than it looks. And from far away, it looks very, very nice. And although I spent a lot of materials to actually create this, I think based on what I actually used, this probably cost me about £2.80. And I think when you put that into perspective, that this was about £2.80, I think that's not bad at all. If you saw this in a shop as like a, I don't know, a Christmas decoration, I don't really know what it is. But if you saw this in the shop, you'd pay at least £8 for it, wouldn't you? Well, maybe it's not mine, but like a more polished version. I'm actually not mad at it. I thought I was going to be furious with it, and I kind of like it. I don't mind it. It is kitsch and tacky, and I think that's appealing to my kind of style. I like kitsch and I like tacky, so I like you. Okay, so moving on to the little artificial terrarium thing. And for my first step, I thought I would try and make the Resin Geode thing. I just used a little coaster mold that I already had and poured some epoxy resin that I'd already mixed some white mica powder into the mold. Such a mouthful, I've said that about 20 times. And then sprinkled various colours of mica powder on top of this resin, as well as some different coloured alcohol inks, and then just played around with it and tried to make it look nice and kind of like theirs. So I've got my finished little geode here. It's fully dry, it's fully set. We'll just get it out of the mould. Yeah, it looks alright. It doesn't look like theirs. I still think that looks nice. It looks nice for my version, but it doesn't look like the original at all. I don't know, I kind of like it though. It's got like a spacey, almost sea kind of vibe to it. Now with this one, I've had to make a little bit of a change because I couldn't find their little glass dish that they've used.
Well, that's not good enough, Mr. Blake.
I looked in every shop that I could, thinking that I would be able to find a little dish, and for some reason none of the shops had one. So I've bought this, and it's not right. This massive thing, it's huge. I think this is for like a candle. I think you put a candle inside of it. But this is the closest thing I could find in the shops to the original glass little dish. And it's just a monster. And I'm kind of worried because I bought all the other stuff before I bought this beast of a thing. And now I'm thinking I might not have enough other bits to make this look decent. We'll see. Okay, so I've got some naturally white silica sand. Okay, that filled it up better than I thought, actually. Okay, and then I think we'll wedge our little geode thing in there somewhere. I suppose the good thing about this is if you make a mistake and you put something where you don't really want it to be, you can always rejig it and move stuff around. Right, I'll add some rocks. And I think they might have potentially used air plants, so like real living plants. But I can't keep plants alive. I kill them all the time. So much so, can you remember when I did the 2 terrariums? That video where I did like an expensive one and a cheap one? Well, my cheap one that I made myself, all the plants died in it and I had to chuck it away. And I'll show you what the expensive one's looking like at the minute. To be fair, I forgot I even had this and I don't think I've watered it. Look at that desolate landscape in there.
Murderer.
I think the little cactus at the back is hanging on by a thread. Devastating. Everything just looks so sad. So because I'm absolutely awful with plants and I can't go through killing any more plants, I bought myself a bag of fake ones. And this is going to be a much better idea. Like, I don't know how long people have been around on the channel for, but I did a really old video. I think it was in the first couple of months of my YouTube channel. And I made this little cactus planter thing out of wood. And them cacti, I kept them alive. There were 4 of them. I kept them alive for so long. And then all of a sudden, they just started to wilt and die out of nowhere. And I don't know what I did. And I tried not watering them, and then they kept dying, and then I tried to water them more, and then they were dying even more, and in the end they were rotten. So I had to chuck them away as well, because I killed them. I just get devastated. I would love to be the kind of person who can have a living plant and it last forever. I think I'm gonna add a lot of fake flowers to this, just to pad it out a bit. I feel like I've added too many flowers. Okay, I think I might be done. So we have expectation and reality, and I actually think mine looks really nice. It obviously looks nothing like the original, but I think that looks quite cool. I kind of want to move the Resin Geode thing because it's like right at the back and it's covered by plants, but I still think that's quite nice. I don't mind that at all. I think I actually prefer mine to the original, mainly because it's bigger. I think bigger's always better. Wink. So this little terrarium thing cost me £27.94, and I think it's quite a significant decorative object for that amount of money. I think you get a lot for the price. The only thing I don't like about this, which everyone should be warned about, is that this will be a terrible thing to clean. This will just catch all the dust, collect all the dust, and it's impossible to clean. Absolutely impossible. Not that I'm that bothered, because you don't even want to know what's behind here, and the amount of dust, it'll be so thick. Okay, and finally we'll move on to the wreath. I still say wreath because, for me, it's far too simple to be a wreath. It looks more like I suppose it looks like a wreath, doesn't it? But just a shitty wreath, I don't like it. I don't know why I'm making it for. I like a wreath that's like full of crap. Like I want a wreath that's got volume and colour and just like, ooh, tacky, glittery, nice things. This one's it's so plain. But anyway, I've got two different options because I thought that I had a gold hoop already in the studio and I haven't checked before I recorded, and I've just looked there and these are the two options I've got. A small silver hoop, which I don't think is very nice, or a larger wooden hoop, and I think this one will look way better because I feel like this wreath has quite like an earthy feel to it, so I think this embodies that rather than the silver. The silver doesn't really go. So I'm making some changes. And measurement wise, if we all jotted them figures down, this is just short of 26 centimeters, so 10 inches. I can't remember what the sizes and the prices were. I told you to jot them down. I hope you jotted them down. Okay, so now I need to figure out how to make this, and I have no idea. I'm thinking they've built up like a tight, crisscrossy bit of yarn in the middle, and then just threaded the little flowers through. That's where my brain's at, and where I'm thinking. So if they just kind of wrapped theirs, done that, then like wrapped it like that, and then done another one, and then brought it around the other side. And just kept doing that to build up like a little, I don't know, like a barrier system. That is the fun thing about this challenge, by the way, the Blind Pinterest challenge, is the fact that it makes you think of how people have made certain things without actually knowing. It makes you use your brain in all sorts. It's crazy. Because I could, of course, look at a tutorial and cheat and figure out exactly how it's made, but then that would be lying to everyone, and that's not fair. And I'm quite intelligent. I feel like I can figure things out. I think the trick is to keep this as tight as you possibly can. Right, I think that should do. I'm going to tie this off and hope it all doesn't unravel on us. Also, I've recently bought a brand new memory card for my dodgy camera, my second camera. It seems to be working fine. I feel like I can completely ignore it and it never goes off. So it wasn't the camera's fault, it was the card. So we'll see how long that lasts. So I've got my little wooden loop with a little crisscross of yarn, and I just bought this pack of like dry artificial, is it called like pampas grass or something? It's that kind of stuff. It has a very unique aesthetic, and I think people go crazy for it. I don't mind it, but it's not really like my thing. These look quite nice though. It's got a bit of colour too. I can see some yellow. Like I like these little yellow ones. They're nice. That's cute, isn't it? I like that. So these are supposed to just thread through, are they? Can't see this happening. Oh, I suppose if oh yeah, it will actually. Because you would just go up and under and like weave each of the things in it. I'll weave it a bit better than I did that time. That'll stay in place, but this is like so fragile. And especially if it's a wreath, I suppose you wouldn't be hanging it on the outside of your door. But if you're even hanging it on the inside and you brush past this, it'll all fall apart because I don't think... Let's have a look at theirs. I don't think they did anything with theirs, did they? No. It doesn't look like they've glued anything. I think it's all just suspended within the yarn. Risky. Okay, let's try and add some more stuff. I'm wondering whether this is artificial or whether this is real stuff. It doesn't feel artificial. I think I've bought dried plants. This is surprisingly more fiddly than I thought it was going to be. I don't know, I just thought it was going to be really, really easy. Oh, actually, yeah, it is easy. What am I talking about? I've come to the realisation that I just like to complain about anything. Yeah, this is 100% real. This isn't fake at all. I can feel it grabbing my hands and there's like bits of shit everywhere. Right, so just add a little bit of yarn at the top. Okay, I think I'm done. So we have expectation and reality, and I'm actually surprised because I think mine looks really nice. Is mine better than the original? I don't know. Am I being biased? I think mine's more full. It's got more stuff in it, which I like and appreciate. Theirs almost feels meticulous, like they've meticulously placed each individual plant in kind of a row, and it's very symmetrical and even. Whereas I like my more kind of rustic, chuck it in kind of aesthetic. I think that works better for this. I don't mind that actually. I'm kind of shocked. Am I turning into a minimalist? No, I'm not. Don't think so. Scandalous. But did I defeat them on price? Okay, so all I had to buy for this was this pack of, well, I was going to say fake, but I think it's real dried flowers, and they cost me $15.99. However, I've used a fraction of them. So I reckon this little wreath thing has cost me about £1, maybe it's £2 to make. Now, I can't remember the prices of their original wreath, but I'm pretty sure I've won. I think I've beat them. Have I beat them? Yes, I have. Not that it's a competition or anything, but if it obviously was a competition, I'd win. So that just about does it for today's episode of the Blind Pinterest Challenge. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And I'm actually quite surprised, considering I was calling myself a bin earlier in this episode, that I feel like I've knocked these crafts out the park. I feel like I've done a really, really good job of them. I struggled a little bit with the light bulb, but it still was passable. And the other two, I feel like I've done a better job. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just improving so much. Oh, and a big thank you to Colette Duran for becoming an exclusive VIO. You very important orange you. And if you come across any crafts on Pinterest that you want me to try to make without any instructions, then feel free to leave your suggestions in the comments below. And I'll see you next week for a brand new video.